Good morning, everyone. Doing a little hiker interview for the start of the 2018 hiker season, and I've picked up my first hiker here in Pearisburg, and I'll let him introduce himself, and we'll talk here a few minutes. And like I say, this is the first hiker interview of 2018. So go ahead.
Howdy, I'm Grumpy, nickname from my grandkids. And I've been watching through hikers for 6 or 7 years with all my hiking up in the White Mountains in New Hampshire. And it's been on my mind ever since I started talking with the first through hiker. It's something I wanted to do. And now that I've retired a year ago, I'm on the trail. Started in Atkins, just because this time of year I don't want to fight with all the people down at Springer Mountain. There's too many on the trail down there. So I'm starting here. After Katahdin, I'll loop back and catch the southern 500 miles in the fall.
Okay, I've seen, so far, I've only seen like 3 or 4 hikers here in Pearisburg. We're, right now we're April the 5th, Thursday, April the 5th. And here in about a month or so, there will be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hikers in Pearisburg. But right now it's early in the season, and like I say, this is the first, Grumpy here is the first hiker that I've picked up and offered a lift to, and have talked to this start of the season. It's really early. I imagine it's kind of cold up on the top of the mountain, isn't it?
It was kind of a surprise last night up at Doc's Knob. Temperatures got into the middle 20s, and my water froze, and it was a tough night.
Well, you know what a lot of hikers do on your water is you keep them in the sleeping bag with you.
I understood that, but I didn't want to take a risk of having it leak and wet out my sleeping bag. It's too early in the journey to have something like that go wrong, so I figured I'd be a little cautious and.
Yeah. You know what? One of the problems with doing that too is a lot of the hikers will keep a pee bottle too.
Yeah.
And you get them mixed up.
That's what the tape around one of the bottles is for. It's a reminder.
Oh, it's a reminder of which bottle you've got, right?
Yeah, so my wife shipped the package to me down to here so that I would be able to swap out gear, and I'd have a replenishment of food because I dehydrated most of my own food. And I was going to do hammocking, and the weather's been so darn cold that the hammock went in the box down at the post office in Pearisburg, and I put the tent on my backpack, and for at least the next week or two, I'm going to be tenting instead of hammocking. Yeah,
well, that's a good idea. It is pretty cold. It's still up on top of these mountains. You're going to still have some freezing temps, probably up for maybe another month or so, at least another couple of weeks. There's going to be freezing
snow
temps.
On Saturday.
Yep, that's what
I hear.
That's what they're talking about.
Fine.
So when do you expect to be in Katahdin?
I would expect by the end of July. Hopefully I'm not being too optimistic, but the end of July or the beginning of August, and then be back down in Springer, probably the 1st of September when the school kids are back in school and the trail thins out a little.
Okay, so how many miles have you done so far?
I've been averaging around 16 a day, which is probably a little bit too much to start until I'm trail ready, but it just seems to be working out that way right now. So I started in Atkins, and I've gone, I guess, 92 miles so far with another 8 miles today. So I'll be at about 100 when I settle in tonight.
So how are you feeling?
Little aches and pains and stuff, which is totally expected, but working through them.
Yeah, your legs holding out good?
Yeah, they're good.
Okay. So were you in fairly good shape when you started?
I was in great shape on February 1st. I was doing some core strength training and some leg strength and some yoga to stretch my muscles a little bit. And on February 1st, I slipped on the ice and landed on my back. And the next 5 weeks, I spent sleeping in a recliner, and I couldn't even put an empty backpack on for 5 weeks. So
you know, I've seen some guys in the 70s and the 80s on the trail. You don't appear to be.
Haven't seen all my hair, huh?
Yeah,
I'm 66.
You're 66, okay. Well, I'm 73, so I got a few years on you. But anyway, what have you gotten rid of anything that you started with?
Other than what I just did at the Pearisburg post office, I swapped out my hammocking and have gone over to tenting, and then I'll switch back. The box that I have, I'm managing it ahead a week at a time, so I can swap equipment out and stuff like that. So,
Okay. So how much weight you been carrying?
Way too much. I'm
Way too
probably in
much.
the mid-30s for food and everything like that.
Mid-30s. That's really not too bad. I've seen guys come through in the 50s carrying 50 pounds.
Just like in the 1950s, huh?
I tell you. But, everybody tells me the lighter the better.
Yes.
The less weight you carry, the better off it is. But there's a certain amount of weight I think you really need to carry. By the time you get your food and your water and your the bag and maybe a sleeping bag and a tent, I mean, I don't see how it's very difficult to get below 20 pounds.
Below 20, yeah, I think that reasonably I should be able to get under 30 in another couple of weeks when the cold weather is pretty much gone by and I can swap out some of the winter gear into lighter gear. And then when I can manage my food a little bit better, instead of carrying 6 or 7 days of food, knowing that I'm going to go through towns, I can probably cut down my weight on food and stuff like that as well.
So you're about mid-30s now?
Yeah, mid-30s.
Okay. All right. Well, sounds good. So any advice you can give to hikers?
I guess that before you go on a hike, pick a long journey like this, go out and hike some trails where through hikers are going through and have a chance to talk with them and hear about their experiences. And if you get fired up by all of their experiences and they seem like your kind of people, then go for it.
Yeah. Well, you look in excellent shape for a guy that's, 66, you said?
Yeah.
You look in excellent shape, excellent health, and hiking has really done wonders for you.
Well, thank you much.
All right. Now, listen, anybody you want to say hi to?
My wife, who's 12 years younger than me, and she has to keep working. That's why I do stuff like this, because we can't do much together until she hits Medicare age. And my 4 grandkids.
Okay. What's your grandkids' names?
Oh, I got a full range. I got Morgan, who is 13. I've got 2 twin boys, Lucas and Isaac, that are 4 years old. And then the one right in the middle is Eloise, and she is 8 years old.
Okay. Have you seen any bears or elk or moose or anything?
No, but I saw a couple of squirrels. That's about the most I've seen out
Couple of squirrels. You didn't come through the Grayson Highlands. You got on after that, right?
Last year I did an 8-day section from Roan Mountain to the Grayson Highlands. So I saw all the ponies and the free-range steer.
Okay.
Saw all that, and it scared the living daylights out of me when the steer came through in the middle of the night. I thought they were going to trample my tent. So,
Well, one thing I might ought to tell you right now, and also this is good for the other hikers, some good information for the other hikers coming through.